Of all the tea names in the world, Shit Oolong is perhaps the most unusual. In this video, we're going to explore Shit Oolong, what the tea tastes like, how it got such a peculiar name, and we'll also compare it to similar teas to see what makes it unique. Before we get started, it would really mean a lot to us if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for future tea videos. We have hundreds of videos on all sorts of topics related to Japanese green tea, but for this episode, we're going to focus on Shit Oolong specifically. Without further ado, let's get started. What is Shit Oolong? When it comes to Shit Oolong, there's a lot to unpack. First, we should define what oolong tea is. Oolong tea is partially oxidized, making it somewhere in between a green tea and a black tea, and it sometimes shares similar taste characteristics with each. You will mostly find oolong teas coming from China and Taiwan, but there are some incredible Japanese oolong teas like the Miyazaki Sabo from southern Japan that has a pleasant, light, and flowery flavor. But where does Shit Oolong come from? Shit Oolong is a type of Dansang Oolong, and the official name in Mandarin is Yashi Xian. It is typically grown in the Phoenix Mountains of Guangdong, and originally it is thought to have been discovered in the village of Pingkong-to. Like with most teas, the production of it spread over time from the original town it was created. What is Dansang Oolong? Dansang is a category of oolong teas that share a lot of similar characteristics. These teas are grown in the Wuyi Mountains in very rocky, mineral-rich soils. These minerals transfer into the leaves of the tea plant, and you can really feel them as a tingling sensation on the palate. Dansang Oolong teas are often characterized and separated based on how the aroma smells. The word for aroma is xian, and you will see it in the full name of most Dansang Oolong teas. For example, Xing Ren Xiang literally translates to almond aroma, and Ji Lang Xian is orchid aroma, specifically the Ji Lang orchid. Where this particularly becomes interesting is a tea like Yashi Xiang, literally Shit aroma oolong or Shit Oolong. While the other types of oolong teas are named after things that sound pleasant like almond, melon, or orchid, this one really stands out. In the next section, we'll explore why this tea gets its name and what it actually tastes like. Why is it called Shit Oolong? There are a few different theories, or legends if you prefer, of why the tea is called Shit Oolong. The most popular is that the original farmer who discovered the tea didn't want the secret to get out, so he gave it an unappealing name so people wouldn't want to try it. If this were the case, his strategy certainly would have backfired, as now people all around the world are flocking to this tea because of its unusual name. The other theory is that, like with panda tea, which is fertilized by panda droppings, Shit Oolong was originally fertilized by the excrement of ducks. This may have been true at one time, but certainly isn't anymore. However the tea got its name, we can't deny that it's gotten a lot of people interested in the world of tea who otherwise wouldn't have been. The tea itself can be very delicious, provided that you get a good one. How is Shit Oolong made? Like most oolong teas, Shit Oolong is made from the older leaves of the tea plant. If a tea farmer were to produce a premium green tea like Gyokuro, they would use the younger leaves of the tea plant, as these are the sweetest in flavor and the richest in nutrients. When it comes to oolong teas, there is so much processing that the farmer is able to use the older leaves of the tea plant and manipulate the flavor through a careful and labor-intensive production process. Next, the leaves are laid out and allowed to wither. This is perhaps the most consistent production phase across all types of oolong, and it reduces the total moisture content without applying intense heat. Next, the leaves are tossed on bamboo mats, which bruises the leaves and brings certain compounds to the surface to oxidize. This is how the farmer is able to accelerate the oxidation process and end up with these peachy or flowery flavors in the tea. After the farmer has accelerated the oxidation process, it's time to stop it. This is done by applying heat, and in the case of Shit Oolong, this is done through a pan firing method. After the leaves have been heated, they won't oxidize any further, and they can be taken through a charcoal baking process to give them a warmer, more roasted finish. The leaves are rolled into the strip shape rather than the ball shape, and they are quite dark in color. Because the tea is made from the older leaves of the tea plant, they are quite large and they take up quite a bit of space in their packaging. So what does Shit Oolong actually taste like? Like many Dansang Oolong teas, the Shit Oolong has an intense minerality that weighs heavy on the palate and can create a nice tingling mouth sensation. This tea brews up a translucent, amber-colored liqueur. The aroma has a lot of these flower notes, which is one of the reasons why some want to change the name to honeysuckle aroma oolong. There are also some of these sweeter, dried honey or fruit notes in the flavor of Shit Oolong, but the dominant taste notes drift off into the floral direction. So hopefully our video clears up a few of your questions. If you have any more questions about Japanese green tea or tea in general, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Until then, we'll see you next time.